I think Liverpool with Klopp, I think he really is tired. What's up, guys? Here with you at FC Wonderkid, episode 141. Here with my guy, Breton. How are you?
I am not recovered. I am great, I guess, on my end, but I am not recovered from the shockwaves, right? The bombshells that have been dropped in this week. It's amazing. Football never fails to surprise, and it doesn't have to be on the pitch at all times. But I don't know, Alex. I can hear the tears in your eyes. Is that possible? But I can hear the emotion in talking to you, and I can't see you right now, but I know you're probably hurting in more ways than one with this managerial ridiculous, this carousel that has started on us. But we have so much to talk about beyond that. AFCON, amazing transfers, a very, very, very busy fixture list, but I don't think we can go any further without starting first with Jurgen Klopp stepping down.
Well, thank you, Jurgen Klopp, for everything you've done for the world of football, especially in the Premier League. Jurgen Klopp is undoubtedly the biggest rival of Pep Guardiola in the Premier League. Let's not forget Jose Mourinho, the special one in La Liga versus Pep Guardiola. But in the Premier League, Klopp did so much in 8 full seasons in which he's been at Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp is the last manager to win a Bundesliga against Bayern Munich that have won 11 in a row. And Klopp is the last manager to beat a Premier League title to Man City. The last one to do both these feats. This is the history and the magnitude of a world-class manager that changed Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp changed the course of Liverpool's future. He created references. He created a Mo Salah, a Virgil van Dijk, an Alisson, a Trent, all with Scouser big history. And now it's all at risk. So it's a big decision for FSG. But yes, it's just, I gotta say this too. Liverpool are no doubt ahead of Arsenal now in the title contention. This news, for me at least, puts Liverpool much more probable to win the Premier League. It's going to be a battle between Man City and Liverpool. I think Arsenal, 3rd place right now, with this club news, to leave Liverpool at the end of the season. It's high, Medish.
That's, yeah. I mean, that's really interesting that you say that, because I was going to ask, do you agree with Virgil van Dijk, who believes that him announcing this mid-season, while it's curious to some, but him announcing this mid-season will spur them on and motivate them more than if he were to, I guess, keep it locked shut until the end of the season. It is curious to me.
It's because,
but I am in.
I think it's because Virgil van Dijk says that the importance of Klopp. Virgil van Dijk says the importance of Klopp announcing that he's leaving Liverpool is because there's a huge mental factor towards Klopp saying he's leaving at the end of the season. They're putting the responsibility of the last season of one of the greatest managers, if not the greatest manager this last decade at Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp. No doubt, obviously he is. But it's the responsibility of this group of players to conquer in the last season of Jurgen Klopp when he announces in January that he's leaving. They're still in the FA Cup. They're in a League Cup final that I certainly believe they'll beat Chelsea. They're still in the Europa League in the round of 16, and they are in the Premier League, and I believe they are going to win it. I'm getting that feeling, Breton. It's the last hurrah with Jurgen Klopp. Only Kevin De Bruyne going bold, only Haaland going bold can stop. But we've seen that happen. But I'm moving more towards Liverpool now. I'm moving towards
it. Well, I mean, it is that last hurrah moment. Boy, would it be a wonderful thing for just an amazingly emotional, wears his heart on his sleeve type of manager to obviously go out on top. But then you got to look at Pep Guardiola and you realize that, hey, my biggest rival, I'm going to sleep better at night knowing that he will no longer be here. Although there are question marks surrounding Pep Guardiola and how long he'll be at City beyond this. But listen, I know that the next 4 or 5 months are going to be absolutely huge for Liverpool and their fans. And I know that there were so many people that likely cried themselves to sleep after this news because through it all, Alex, He had worked his way into having an influence in Liverpool that was good mostly for every facet of Liverpool, whether it's the culture, whether it's the transfers that get done, whether it's the FSG relationship, whether it's his man management and just him bringing that dry humor to the Premier League. That influence, as Manchester United has found out, as other clubs have found out previously, that influence is not easily replaceable. And there are so many question marks from here on out. Think of the things that he did with the development with guys like Trent Alexander-Arnold, Andy Robertson. I mean, it's so damn impressive. Sorry to curse, but it's so damn impressive what he has done. Gave them their first Premier League title in 30 years, 3 seasons of 90 points above, and if it weren't for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, they'd have more, right? More titles in their back pocket. And now, you got 4 or 5 more months with him, and he wants nothing to do with picking the replacement. But the question marks are so curious to me, and that's why I like the timing, Alex. I wanted to ask to you, as a big fan of Jurgen Klopp, or a big, you're very appreciative of what he's done. This timing, I know it's very personal, and I'm sure he weighed all the positives and negatives, but this timing is very curious to you, is it not?
I think so, yes. I think Liverpool, I think Liverpool with Klopp, I think he really is tired. I think it comes a time in your life that with the intensity that he's shown, with the options that he's been presented with, Jurgen Klopp doesn't have the same budget as Erik ten Hag or Pep Guardiola in the Manchester clubs. Right. But Jurgen Klopp created references with what he was given. He was given a lot of money with the Felipe Coutinho sale. What did he give after? Virgil van Dijk and Alisson. He creates an Andy Robertson. He creates a Trent Alexander-Arnold that is a vice captain and a huge reference with Jurgen Klopp. So I think he created the most beautiful memories that a Liverpool fan could even dream of. Like seeing the situation before and the situation right now for Liverpool, it's humongous. Now Liverpool is a Champions League expected team, not an Europa League expected team. And I think that's part of the reason why Jurgen Klopp wants to pass the torch. He believes someone out there can maintain the high standard. But I just wanted to say this. Jurgen Klopp with Liverpool will be an iconic Premier League era team. Just like Man City with Pep Guardiola, just like Jose Mourinho with Chelsea, just like Sir Alex Ferguson with Manchester United. I know many eras. And to Arsene Wenger with Arsenal. Jurgen Klopp is in this conversation because he's won the Prem, he's won the Champions League, and he won every person in Liverpool's heart too in the meantime. So keep going bold, Jurgen Klopp. And I'm very concerned with what's going to happen in the future because you got Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Alisson, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, the youngest of the bunch, that you must guarantee the high standards. Winning a Champions League, winning the Premier League must be the focus. And it's going to be very hard to pick a new manager to replace Klopp. But obviously, in people's mind, the best replacement for Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool is right now the unbeaten manager in the top 4 leagues, a former legend of Liverpool, a legend of the Galacticos, and he is the right option. It's Xabi Alonso.
Yeah?
Xabi Alonso is the favorite in my eyes to coach Liverpool in the future. But before they pick Xabi Alonso, there must be a sporting director too. It's the sporting director that's going to be announced, and then we will see Xabi Alonso. But honestly, if you see the transfers in this summer of Xabi Alonso, just get the man that did these moves with Xabi Alonso. Hoffman, Xhaka, Grimaldo, Boniface, all home runs and all instrumental towards Leverkusen being in the position that they are right now this season. Xabi Alonso is the right guy. But Liverpool favorites is Xabi Alonso or De Zerbi. It must be one of these two.
Yeah. I those are. I just am going to be that one person that says, and I know he's probably going to go cut his teeth elsewhere. He's already announced that he's leaving. But anyone that has ever said or talked about Per Linders his assistant coach, has nothing but amazing things to say about the guy. And I doubt that he will be the next head coach of Liverpool, but I am really, really excited to see where he winds up next and whether it is going to be him cutting his teeth in prep of one of his head coaching or his own head coaching position in the future. Because he is. I don't know if you saw that interview that he did where he discusses how they tactically prep
The
for
coach's
games.
voice.
I mean,
I saw it. Yeah.
oh my gosh, it just it made my head spin at how much the facets of the game that he thinks about and how far ahead he is than most. And I bet Jurgen Klopp would endorse him wherever the heck he
Maybe we
decides
would
to
see
go.
Rafa Marquez coach's voice.
Oh yeah. Well, but I agree. I mean, the odds-on favorite, you're right, is Xabi Alonso. I guess
Or this
obviously it's amazing what Xabi Alonso is doing right now. We just need to remember that there's a small sample size, albeit an insanely positive one. And I would imagine that the first punch in the face, which is very important generally for any manager, right, to get that punch in the face and deal with it, whether it's Victor Boniface going out for 4 months, right? That's pretty bad.
And getting Borja Iglesias in the meantime.
Yeah, but that's true. But early on, right, Xabi Alonso inherited a Leverkusen team that was insanely underperforming, and he immediately got them back on track. I just caution that, plucking him out.
And the style of play
that's true. The style of play.
Wingbacks, like imagine I know that Jeremy Frimpong is a very different wingback from a Trent Alexander-Arnold. One's a speedster, another one is a lead passer. But I still believe a Xabi Alonso with a Trent Alexander-Arnold would be scary. And as I said, you must guarantee quality in the next manager of Liverpool to sustain these world-class stars of Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Salah, and to Trent Alexander-Arnold. It must happen.
Fair enough.
And yes, I think that Liverpool will have a busy summer too. It won't be just a manager. Having a new sporting director, you will have someone that will want to have his fingerprints in who comes in transfers too and who comes out. So even a Mo Salah going to the Saudi Super League is more likely now than it was with Jurgen Klopp. No, Mo Salah leaving to the Saudi Pro League is more likely to happen without Jurgen Klopp next season. So I fully believe that move can happen. And if you have a sporting director that loves Wonderkids, don't be surprised if Yohan Bakayoko is straight away the first player he goes and gets for that position, okay? If it's 30, 40 million, that is kind of a bargain. With a Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez, so many young options in front. Cody Gakpo, but none is Mo Salah.
But what also intrigues me here is if FSG was looking. Remember, there was a time not so long ago that FSG was looking to sell this team, right? They were looking to have an exit point, and then I think the whole Manchester United sale thing showed them how difficult it was. I think they sold off a little bit of the club, and got a little bit of a cash injection in there. Maybe provided some exits with some more minority owners. But when it comes down to it, they are going to have to strap in, it looks like, for the long haul in terms of ownership here, right? Because a lot of what was insanely marketable right now was the fact that Jurgen Klopp had his influence on everything, was the fact that Jurgen Klopp was not synonymous with the club, but he was pretty dang close.
Exactly.
He was pretty dang close. And with him going, obviously those uncertainties creep back in, and that's never good for a sale. So FSG, anyone that wanted them out, they're back. They're not back, but they're not going anywhere, is what I mean to say. And they have some big decisions. So I really hope, as you suggested, that technical director decision, then that manager decision. I mean, these are some big deals. But you think it's Xabi Alonso, Roberto De Zerbi, and there's nobody else,
there's
right?
two favorites. I think there's nobody else.
I mean,
Graham Potter, I think I'd be disappointed if Xabi Alonso is showing that he wants to go to Liverpool. He can't do that right now because of the situation with Bayer Leverkusen, but I just think it's so poetic for football fans, for Liverpool fans, focus with this topic. And Xabi Alonso becomes the Liverpool manager and the first manager to win the Bundesliga. If that happens, mate, that will be insane. The first manager since Jurgen Klopp that picks going to Liverpool too. And Xavi's a legend of Liverpool. It just, it's mad. And Harry Kane's at Bayern Munich. So even with that, he has a hand for Kane not to have a trophy another year. It's just crazy.
But what's insane to me, except for the form and the fact that we all see what Bayer Leverkusen is doing, and we all see what Xabi Alonso is doing, it just screams, right? It screams a little bit Xavi and Barcelona in that sense, except with Xavi, it was Al Sadd and it was Qatar, and he had success there. He played there. Not right, exactly. Not the marketable type of success that we are looking at right now with Bayer Leverkusen, trying to end an 11-year power struggle with Bayern, and doing it in just insanely exciting fashion, right? And with a bunch of injuries right now.
Best exactly. Start ever in Leverkusen history.
But you can't argue that there aren't parallels there for some people that, I mean, come on, it was like carnage. Friday, Klopp. Saturday, Xavi. Mind blown on Sunday. And I'm still not recovered from it, right? But there are little parallels there, right? You know, club legend coming back. The biggest difference is that we know and we see how Bayer Leverkusen was built up, and we watched them struggle. And then, so I'm so intrigued to see this next choice, obviously, I mean, is so important. But the issue is Liverpool and FSG and fans, you're in danger of overthinking it.
It's true.
Overanalyzing it to the point where you make the wrong decision. And yeah, right now, the right decision is staring you in the face. I just don't know. It might be so perfect that they wind up ignoring it, Alex.
Perfect would have been Stevie G, maybe. After leaving a Rangers team, if he had stayed until then. But look what happened. Stevie G went to Atlético, he extended like a week ago, and now he sees Xabi Alonso as the perfect replacement. Everything can happen in football. But mentioning everything can happen in choices, I think Man United did a vital and Man United did a great choice in appointing Omar Berrada as their CEO of football now. Omar Berrada will elevate the squad of Man United in the next 2 years. I'm fully confident of what I'm saying, and without overpaying. Overpaying, something that hasn't happened at Man United ever since Sir Alex Ferguson has left. They overpay for a lot of players, and I'm going to say Erik ten Hag has his job. Erik ten Hag's job as Man United's manager is risked right now. It's under risk because Omar Berrada, if he evaluates the situation of Man United, he must put a bit of blame to Erik ten Hag. He puts Jadon Sancho and Cristiano Ronaldo out. He wants to sign an Anthony. He wants to sign an Onana that was signed a year before by Inter for free. So that's not a player that in a year becomes 50 million all of a sudden. So Man United needs to change a lot of the structure, and with salaries too. Omar Berrada expect a lot of players to leave because of their high salaries right now. Rashford, Sancho, I'm going to say like everyone can go at Man United right now. And Erik ten Hag is one of the names. He must be put in attention now. Kobe Maino, and Garnacho, Winterhuilen. I think these three, Omar Berrada won't touch. But Rashford, I don't know.
But that is also part and parcel of what Berrada is bringing into this, right? And that is the fact that there needs to be, whether it's a salary, whether it's an agent commission, whether it is a transfer fee, there needs to be a big rationale, a real grounded rationale on why you're doing what you're doing. Anthony, not the case, right?
Yes.
And Rashford, the issue there is base salary. The issue there is when it comes to where he could potentially go, you're limited, right? You're looking at like PSG, which once upon a time was a potential destination for Marcus Rashford. We all remember that, right? And I love what he's saying, but my oh my, is there so much work to do at Manchester United in those regards, right? Because the problem of offloading was something that Barcelona had issues with as well, right?
True.
It's something that Barcelona, it's when the decisions, the bad decisions have already been made and they've saddled you with that type. So he's got to be ruthless. And there likely has to be loss taking before there can be some profit taking long term with this. So I'm excited about the new signings in the future with Omar Berrada applying that strict rationale to it. But, even with Manchester City, they had problems later on. I mean, they had their targets. And they knew that once they tasted success, once they tasted continuous success, other clubs would try and fleece you for money in that direction, right? And they did very well playing defense against that and then striking big with Julian Alvarez. With, Gvardiol, you could say is wishy-washy, but my goodness, he's so young and he's still one of the highest ceiling defensive talents on the planet right now. So they overpaid, but they overpaid with purpose potentially. And they know that, right? So I'm with you. I don't mean to spend as much time on Berrada as we spent on Klopp, because very, very different. But I am very excited about this particular move for Man United because it says that they're ready to change the ethos, right? They're ready to stop making crap decisions.
Exactly. The Man United brand for me is top 3 in football. It's Real Madrid, Barca, and Man United. Number 1 in England right now. And that's why Omar Berrada made a power move to go to Man United. And right now, Erik ten Hag, in his short period of time, compared to Jurgen Klopp and to Guardiola, Erik ten Hag has spent more money in transfers than Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp has spent 356 million. Erik ten Hag, 396 million, with Casemiro, with Anthony, with many players that cost a lot of money. And only Højlund, for me, is one of that shows risk potential that makes sense. So I think a lot of things need to change. And as you said, let's see if it happens with Omar Berrada. But certainly, they're better than not having a man like that in their structure. So will Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Omar Berrada make something happen with this Man United team? Let us know in the comments, and let us know too. Do you agree with my hopes, with my high hopes of Xabi Alonso being the replacement of Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool? Let us know in the comments section. But as we said, this was not the only announcement, because Jurgen Klopp hasn't left Liverpool immediately and Xabi hasn't left Barcelona immediately, but he has assured all fans that he'll be leaving at the end of the season. Xavi realized that he is part of the problem of the situation of Barca right now. The team dynamic is very negative. The team is not improving. The mentality is not getting better. The style of play is not getting better. And Barca, I think they won't win La Liga. They certainly won't win Copa del Rey with the way Bilbao and Madrid are playing. And they certainly won't win the Champions League because Real Madrid and Man City and Bayern Munich are still there. So it's a reset time. Time. But it's a hard choice to replace Xavi. I don't want to be in Laporta's shoes, because I see every Barca fan that says Jurgen Klopp is coming to Barca right now. That is a dream. That is a dream right now. And if they convince Jurgen Klopp, it's because of the weather, not because of the club situation right now. It's to have a good life change, a routine change, and have fun with football. But that would be immense. But I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will. No.
But I think there are good potential replacements for Xavi. And here's the issue. Well, I do. And here, because with Xavi stepping down, maybe there is a realization now that Barcelona is more a brand than a well-run club at this moment. Okay? And they are paying for past mistakes. And I get it that everybody has this well-intentioned effect to get back to it. And that's why to get back to, being that legendary club that was, that was Messi, that was Suarez, that was Xavi, that was, all of them, Busquets. We could go on and on and on, right? But that's not coming back anytime soon.
Exactly.
Okay? The realization has to happen there. And that's why when I look at things, Xavi, I mean, there are a number of head coaches that would have been sacked well before Xavi if we are applying whatever Xavi's reason for leaving is right now. Just because they're 10 points behind in La Liga, I don't think he was given enough credit for the fact that he won La Liga last season.
True.
He won La Liga last season.
Well
he
said.
won it in dominant fashion. There was always going to be a regression to the mean because this is not the finished product. And that's why, to be honest, Alex, I'm pissed at Xavi. I don't think he should leave. I honestly do not believe Xavi should leave. Now, with that said, I do believe there are maybe better prepared managers to take it forward. I think in this instance, Xavi is maybe even hindered by the fact that he was so damn world-class at playing, right? And he's one of those guys that could be on the field and he'd figure out a game before anyone else. And that's what made him so great and so good and consistent at what he did. Well, we know that doesn't always translate to being a manager. But on top of that, he then also has to thread the needle of being one of the world's most iconic brands, coming off of one of the hottest periods of success, right? And he has to win La Liga again? I don't get what the intent was. Now, if you're saying that it's culture, if you're saying he's lost the room, then I could sort of understand that, but I feel like it's a cop-out. I feel like he just puts them into another quandary because they don't have necessarily the money to go out and pay Jurgen Klopp, even if they want to bring him in the door. They're more so likely, and I do believe it, and I'll throw him in there. I mean, you should bring back a guy like Francisco Garcia Pimienta, who's the manager of Las Palmas. Las Palmas, and I stole this from an Athletic, and I definitely should subscribe, $1.99 a month for Athletic. But I walked through what he has done with Las Palmas. He has brought essentially the Barca style to play there in some respects, and he has relied on young players, and he has taken the second smallest wage bill in La Liga, and he has them in 9th place right now. He took Real Madrid toe-to-toe the other day. He did. And Real Madrid was looking not that great. He's a guy, he has 20-plus years at Barcelona previous to that as a player and as a La Masia manager.
I think it's an interesting choice, and we can mention the managers that can replace Xavi, but I want to mention on the situation right now, but Xavi is not the biggest problem at Barca. The biggest problem in my eyes is that there's no CDM. There's no CDM to control such a fragile defense at the back. This season in La Liga, they've suffered 29 goals. And last season, they had only 21 or 22 goals suffered. Ronald Araújo, Christensen, Conde are all looking much worse because there's no Ter Stegen, and there's no Gavi, and there's no CDM. The no Gavi is massive for a Xavi style of play in a 4-3-3 with a high tempo, vertical tempo that needs a player like Gavi right there. It's not Pedri, it's Gavi that's making the biggest difference in my eyes at Xavi, with Xavi.
And you're right. And just to put all the data on the table, right? It was the second time in a week that Xavi and Barcelona had conceded 4 goals plus. And that is the first time in 70 years in Barcelona history that has ever happened. 70 years. Okay, so I know I'm sitting here. I don't think it's all Xavi's fault, but I understand him maybe taking account for it and saying, but Xavi didn't keep Inaki Peña from making a mistake. Right.
It's true.
And so on and so forth. But they've conceded 9 goals. You're right. 16 goals they've conceded in the last 5 games. And as you mentioned, 29 goals in 21 games when they conceded just 20 all last season. And there's a lot of bad stuff here. I agree. But
it's the situation too that Xavi was started with it. Xavi was expected to do a lot just when he arrives with a Laporta presidency that was expecting a La Liga title. And Xavi delivered the La Liga title that everybody was hoping to have with Laporta in short period of time. 75 wins, 21 draws, 26 losses, Xavi. That's his record at Barca, and he's a legend because he's won La Liga as a player and as a manager too, with the style of play that he has. And Xavi invested big time in La Masia. He's gonna leave at the end of the season, but his legacy will live on. His biggest star being Gavi of La Masia that he trusted a lot. Alejandro Balde, I believe, big time, and he will show why Xavi trusted him. Pau Cubarsí, Lamine Yamal, Hector Fort, late stages. Remember all these names. Fermin Lopez all had had the chance because of Xavi. So your legacy
Right,
will live
but
on.
and they all wound up injured because they had to be ridden hard, right? In that set, like they literally had to be put on the field because they didn't have the money to bring in anybody else, right? They do bring in Vitor Roca, and I disagree with what Xavi has been doing with Vitor Roca, but I just don't like. I think that adds to the impressive nature of what he was doing, Xavi, with what he had at his disposal. Right, I agree. He unlocked the academy once again, and hopefully the next person that comes in will continue to rely on them, but maybe Alex not rely on them too much because you just mentioned Pedri, Gavi, and Alejandro Balde. Well, Alejandro Balde is going to be out for a very long time. Not very long, but a long time, okay? And we obviously know where Gavi is. He's now going to miss Euro 2024 because of this. And we know how hard it's been for Pedri to get all the way back to full fitness. But we also know that if anyone's building a team these days, the kid's only 21 and he's one of your first picks to build the dang team. But what he was able to do with the youth coming through, right? And just automatically playing up to La Liga level and beyond, right? And then go on to be mainstays in the national team. I think there's more work to be done here. And maybe Xavi doesn't feel like he's that guy. But he, in this instance, should probably be part of the panel to help pick the next guy.
I agree.
Because it needs to be right. And unfortunately, Alex, it doesn't change the inner workings here. Barcelona ain't out of the woods when it comes to this financial craziness. That's why he has literally no mobility to bring in anybody for the most part.
It's
right.
the salary situation right now at Barca. The hierarchy, we have Frankie de Jong earning more than 30 million because of COVID-19 deal that he did, that he accepted to get less in COVID-19 time, to get now big time money. But you have Frankie de Jong earning more than 30 million. You have Lewandowski earning more than 20 million. You have a player like Rafinha, a player like Ferran Torres, a player like Gundogan, all earning more than 10 million a year. You have high expectations with all these players. World-class money is coming in to their accounts, so world-class performances must come into for Barca fans that are still in the Champions League and that are going to be behind Girona in the title race. That cannot be the case. There's too much history in this Barca team to finish behind Girona, behind Atlético, and to be finishing so consistently bad and behind Real Madrid, even though they won La Liga last season. It's been it's been a bad time for Barca fans lately because Real Madrid is doing everything they have to do efficiently, the right choice as a manager, and you don't see the drama that you consistently see in Barca news. It's so sad. You feel almost like it's teenagers just tweeting, Xavi slept 2 hours. Why do you know that Xavi slept 2 hours? I've never seen a tweet like that about Ancelotti. You need to focus on what matters. And what matters is the salary structure to be fixed. And Man United have realized that with Omar Berrada coming in. Barca needs to come in with Deku coming with big-time maths. Big-time maths by Deku, sporting director. That's what needs to happen. Man, it puts me crazy.
Yeah. No, it is. It's just back in the soup, man. Back into it for Barcelona fans. I think for a long period, for 80% of Xavi's reign here, right? There was a feeling that this team was moving forward, that was getting incrementally better. But the largest signings that they've made are guys that aren't at the end of their days, but they are guys that in the past would not have been the signings Barcelona would make, and that's Gundogan. It's 34-year-old Lewandowski. They would have gotten him at 27, not at 34. Right?
Fair enough. They did Griezmann. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they couldn't fit him into the squad. They couldn't make him do what they wanted. But hindsight's 2020. But I just feel like there are so many managers out there. I mean, Jurgen Klopp included. Maybe this isn't a perfect parallel, but like last season was horrendous. And I did hear, I've heard through the grapevine, not through the grapevine, literally through Twitter, that, it was his wife that kept him from not stepping down for Liverpool last season. Well, is Xavi married? Yeah, he's married, right? Or he has a partner. she should keep him in it. This just puts him in the soup again to have to make another decision. And if there's one thing over the last few years, right? And I know we shower Laporta with praise from time to time, but they have not made very clearly they've made more bad decisions than good decisions.
Who would you replace Xavi with now?
And that is a wonderful question because it is accepting where you are, right? There is going to be like hiring somebody that is such a big name, right? Like going and plucking Mikel Arteta from Arsenal.
Impossible.
I feel like it's a flippin' pipe dream. Exactly. It's not happening. So get it out of your mind. Building somebody foundational.
But
you
Klopp
might be able to get but Klopp, you can't pay Klopp that much. Well, it's not impossible. Don't say impossible, but it's just another financial lever you're going to have to pull in order to get the guy in.
No, I think
unless he's going to work for peanuts.
I think Klopp would understand the situation of the project of Barcelona. I think Klopp, if he were to accept the challenge of Barcelona, it would be a challenge because he wanted to make history in the world of football. Because if Barca's going world-class consistently in 3-4 seasons, Barca is a Champions League contender always because they will dominate La Liga with Real Madrid.
If he was tired at Liverpool, he is going to be, I don't know, catatonic.
It's different
in Barcelona.
The media it is. And the media
right.
in England, you are a spotlight in England and you're judged for everything. If you pick your nose in public in England, you're a headline. In Barca, that
Xavi,
would not be the case.
Hold on. I mean, Xavi's saying the same thing about the politicking and the constant barrage of negativity at Barcelona too. So I just don't think Klopp's, if he's actually stepping down for being tired, I don't think he's going to throw himself in his hat in the ring into I don't know, a whole lot of gymnastics that has to happen to get these guys back on the ropes. So I think it should be more, and I doubt that this will be the hiring, but I think that it should be more foundational. And that's why I think bringing in the Las Palmas boss, or bringing in a guy like, if you can pull him away, Michel from Girona, or Thiago Motta at
Bologna.
At Bologna.
Yes, interesting choices. It's hard to replace Xavi at Barcelona. Michel, Thiago Motta, Mourinho. No, Mourinho won't happen because he doesn't play in the 4-3-3 style of play. But I think yes. Say, Bretson.
But I'm just saying. But here's the thing: you and I think, are talking about realistic people, right? But what I feel like most people that follow Barcelona are going to ask for, they're going to ask for Julian Nagelsmann. No. They're going to ask for Jurgen Klopp. They're going to ask for
Hansi Flick.
Yeah, they're going to ask for Mikel Arteta.
To Barca. Can it happen?
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, it probably could happen. German in charge of Barcelona. Do we see this being a good thing? I don't know. I don't know, Alex. I really think it should be one more foundational with the acceptance of where you are as a club currently, where you're fighting internal strife and having to thread the needle of just this massive brand.
Well, one thing's for sure. Rafa Marquez is not the first choice to be the Barca coach, nor will he be the Barca coach next season. I think Michel from Girona is a bold choice, but could happen. Thiago Motta from Bologna is a very bold choice, but could happen. It's a dream-like scenario to get Jurgen Klopp. A dream, but you never know. Let's see if they could convince the sporting project that is attractable. And a home run would be De Zerbi too. I think De Zerbi with La Masia, with this Brighton style of like youngsters always present and playing a good style of play, De Zerbi would be an interesting choice too for Barcelona. Yeah. But yeah, it's all rumors right now. And I saw Hansi Flick was considered before Xavi. So let's see if they reconsider Hansi Flick to be their manager. But right now in La Liga, Barca is not in the best situation, especially after losing 5-3 to Villarreal the way they did. Gonçalo Guedes, 1 goal, 1 assist. I loved seeing that. But another team is going bold too, Bretson, right?
Girona continues to impress. 1-0 win over the weekend. And I mean, this is between Real Madrid and Girona. Very, very simply put.
I agree.
But it's absolutely unbelievable what's happening here. I mean, you've got Daley Blind, who separated his contract, right, and picked up at Girona, nobody thinking that they'd probably be mid-table at best, and now he is in a La Liga fight. Or fight for the title in La Liga. They get it from all sides, whether it's Dovbyk, whether it's, Savio still continues to impress. That midfield, Ivan Martin and Alex Garcia continue to impress. Those wingbacks, Jan Couto is now, I think he is a legitimate Manchester City prospect if Manchester City really do want to execute that right to have him on their squad, right? Yeah. Miguel Gutierrez, there's so much to like about it, but there still lies 19 fixtures in front of them, 18 fixtures,
and Real Madrid is 1 point behind, but one less fixture behind too. So that's why Girona is first right now. But yes, going with what you said, Bretson, Girona right now has 17 wins, 4 draws, and only 1 loss.
Amazing.
Only 1 loss. It's mad. And 52 goals scored, which is the first in the league right now. Girona with Michel, terrific job. It's almost a bit like the Leicester of La Liga. But there was no Real Madrid to go against them. With Ancelotti especially. Because this is a special era that Real Madrid are living to. But Girona, this season, we're going to see an iconic squad that will be remembered in 5-10 years' time. That Girona squad that had Miguel Gutierrez, that had Jan Couto, that had Alex Garcia, that had Artem Dovbyk, that they even got him for 7 million. They had so many icons. And a Xavi that is the leader of assists. Oh, my days. Do you remember that time, Bretson? That will be the story one day. So
I'm just happy
they're making it happen.
I'm just happy we're living it, right? La Liga has got everything going for it this particular season. Because I'll be honest, Alex, it's not just Girona. There's also Nico Williams. I got to say it.
Yes.
He's going to be the most coveted player or one of the most coveted players coming out of La Liga this particular season. I believe there's a minimum fee release clause on him, 45 million. What are we looking at? Pounds, potentially, right? And I know the Premier League is probably the first place he likely will wind up. There are several clubs that are probably already looking for his signature, but I got to bring this up. I mean, Nico Williams, how amazing is it? Forget like Athletic Bilbao's pedigree and what they do when they build and construct a squad. But how amazing is it that Nico Williams gets to play with his brother Inaki every day, and that they also happen to be just seamlessly intertwined when they play together. They are so locked in when they play together, because if you didn't see the Copa del Rey game where Athletic Bilbao beat Barcelona and unfortunately started the downfall of Xavi here. It was Nico Williams providing a goal and an assist, and it was Inaki Williams, his older brother, who plays for Ghana, that also provided a goal and assist in extra time in order to surpass them. So Nico, just for everybody that looks at Lamine Yamal and his age and all that good stuff, just take a step back first, give Yamal his time, let him develop, and look at Nico Williams, because he very much is much closer to a finished product than Lamine Yamal is.
Make
and
it
at 21,
happen, make it happen.
I mean, make it happen.
Nico and Williams
Barca.
one side, but Lamine Yamal the other. The future of Spain and Barca. It's tie and tie.
Scary.
Pedri,
Scary.
Xavi, Nico Williams, Lamine Yamal, Pau Cubarsí one day, Fermin Lopez one day. If we have a strong Spanish national team, we have a strong Barca team. I've heard that many times, and I think that is factual. And I think you're bringing up Nico Williams, and he deserves that shout, because that's such a short release clause for the potential that he's showing. And Real Madrid, we both believe, are favorites to win La Liga, and they did the right choice to extend with Ancelotti. Vinicius Jr. in his last 4 games, 5 goals scored. Valverde's right there. Tchouaméni scored on his birthday. I'd love to see that celebration. Iconic, okay? And no doubt, Calafat, Florentino Perez, they have the right structure, and they have the objective to consistently fight for the Champions League and La Liga. You have the feeling, this is the thing with Real Madrid. Real Madrid have not spent money like Man City, like Man United, and we can say confidently that they'll be fighting for La Liga and Champions League in the next 5 years with the amount of talents that they have. Vini, Rodrigo, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Mbappe may be coming too. This is a mad one, and an obvious choice for Mbappe too. So Real Madrid, Remontada once
Yeah.
again, and they win it. Almeria,
You
Mallorca, so many.
Yeah, you're mentioning you mentioned so many names there, and there's one that has been standing out even more to me because the majority of the time he's not been playing the position he'd like, and that is Eduardo Camavinga. Just such a great footballer, and a great footballer that is still so young and is going to grow in and just become even more dominant alongside Chouameni. But it is so nice seeing him in the midfield. So nice seeing him in the midfield when he gets to play where he wants to play. He is going to be absolutely humongous for them. And that's you're right. I mean, you can see the view. You can see the vision over the next 3, 4, 5 years for Real Madrid. And if they can figure out, well, if they can get their defense back healthy, but they can figure out how to bring in help
They're
there,
getting a center back
structural
this summer.
help. Yeah. Because what they got ain't it. I'm going to tell you that much.
Well, they have injuries right now with Alaba and Eder Militão. But when they're back,
yes,
they have it. But they need to have more options towards always being ready for these types of injuries. And that's why Antonio Silva, Gonçalo Inácio, I am very sure a center back is coming to Real Madrid next season. A center back and maybe Kylian Mbappé, and that's a huge summer. Showing an Antonio Silva, Hendrik, Kylian Mbappé, that would break every Galactico's mind with the amount of talent that they already have there, and with Ancelotti too. And there's a statement that I want to refer with Luka Modric and Ancelotti. Ancelotti said, I don't want Modric to warm up if I'm not sure he will play. I respect him too much. Ancelotti said this. And remember who didn't respect the player and put him warming up and wasn't expecting him to come on? It was Cristiano Ronaldo with Erik ten Hag. He clearly didn't know what to do with players with that stature. Erik ten Hag, learn from Carlo Ancelotti, because you get to a certain pedigree that you need to be a leader with true leaders, people that have won Champions League. So I wanted to mention that. And Camavinga will grow with Luka Modric leaving. And he grew learning from Luka Modric too. So it's big what's happening. And it's big always transfers that need to happen, because right now the world is cooking. And Atlético de Madrid is cooking. I wasn't expecting this one. I'm very critical of Diego Simeone many times, especially with Wonderkids. I'm still a bit hurt with the João Felix situation. But the truth is, João Felix didn't match the Simeone style of play. And when I see now Artur Vermeeren for 18 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons, I got to say, Atlético Madrid fans, you hit right in the money. That's a guaranteed future potential Belgium national team starter, in my view. I really believe in the talent, the technique of Artur Vermeeren, and I don't think they could have done better for the price that they paid.
Yeah, he's still growing too, and I see in him and the 20-year-old Pablo Barrios in that Atleti midfield, I see a very, very bright future for Atletico Madrid. But not to bring everything back to Xavi, Alex, but like, how many times would Diego Simeone been sacked, right? If Xavi was, or if we were applying Xavi's viewpoint and why he stepped down to Diego Simeone. I mean, Atleti's had bad years, bad years, right? In fact, I think we were calling for his head in one of those years. That was like 2 years ago, right? But he has always bounced back. Why? Because quality doesn't mean first place every year. It means I know, it pisses me off. I have to keep going back to Xavi because I do think he's unfairly treated in this situation. And I think he copped out. But yes, Artur Vermeeren, did not expect him to go to Atleti. You already said it. I said it. Incredibly shocked that he winds up going to La Liga. And the more I think about it, the more I love it. I think his physical attributes are going to catch up even more with him. And I think he is going to be one of the more dominant midfielders in La Liga in a year or two's time.
Ooh, I love that prediction on Artur Vermeeren, because yes, La Liga is a technical league, and Artur Vermeeren is a technical player from Royal Antwerp. Key in their first Belgium title league win in over 50 years, something like that. Absolutely mad. It was Artur Vermeeren having a hand with that. And Moise Kean on loan to Atlético too. Must remember that happened, and you got Alvaro Morata going bold. You have Griezmann going bold. you might have now Moise Kean going bold too.
You might. I mean, I feel like Moise Kean is kind of the new Alvaro Morata before Morata had an amazing year. He's having an amazing this year.
But on
So
loan, not
I have
on
to
transfers.
throw that out there.
On loans, not on transfers, because the transfers accumulated by Morata, that agent is world class.
Right. Yes, he absolutely is, and I guess Moise Kean can be thrown into that right now, even though Moise Kean, you said he's still only 23 years old. I don't understand how these big name squads, large squads, right, keep coming for Moise Kean, right? And I know we've said that at some point in the past about Alvaro Morata, whether it was at Chelsea or any of the number of random stops along the way in his career.
I remember Moise Kean with James Rodriguez, Carlo Ancelotti, and at Everton. He showed great quality there.
Yeah, for a depth piece and for the potential of him making something out of nothing on the pitch, I'm okay with it, right? Long term, I'd rather see Samu Omarodian, who is on loan at Alaves and who has 7 goals in La Liga this season, right? I'd rather see him. And he is not the same type of a physical specimen that Moise Kean, and he's a big, like, Lukaku type target striker. Obviously, Moise Kean can play a few more roles than that. But Samu Omarodian, I mean, Pablo Barrios, Artur Vermeeren, I don't know. I mean, Atleti's actually getting younger. Moise Kean, too. They might actually have a future beyond Antoine Griezmann one day. We'll see.
Riquelme and Artur Vermeeren in midfield. I absolutely love those two talents. I think they can go a long way from where they are right now. Koke, Saul, they got to work for him somewhere. And one thing is to work on the present and future, and that must happen. And as we mentioned, Vermeeren for 18 million is a bargain. I believe so. And I mentioned PSG. I mentioned Mbappe going to Real Madrid. If Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, I surely believe that Rafael Leão will be going to Paris Saint-Germain. His release clause is of 175 million. And never forget in the past when Ibra and Thiago Silva went to PSG. It's not the first time that they raid Milan. AC Milan in this case. And Rafael Leão, I'm not going to say he's a cheaper Kylian Mbappe, because he's not a cheaper Kylian Mbappe. Rafael Leão is his own unique style of play player. Once you're 150 million plus, you are your own type of player. You're not a new type of anyone, okay? I just want to say that. Yeah. And Rafael Leão would come, and he would immediately, I believe, be the best player in Ligue 1. And that's what you have to be if you cost 175 million. In a team that has a Ugarte, a team that has a Vitinha, a team that has a lot of Portuguese league players or pass through the Portuguese league, I think it would make sense. So, bora lá, Rafael Leão.
Yeah, and those of you that might forget, Rafael Leão actually did have that small stint, 26 games, I believe it was, 8 goals for Lille, right?
Yes.
Was that in the year that they...
With Luis Campos.
Yeah, right.
It was his choice.
Right. Yeah, that back when there was that.
Osimhen, Rafael Leão, Mike Maignan was there too in that team.
Yeah.
And Milan, AC Milan are in a big risk if Rafael Leão leaves to then keep Mike Maignan and Theo Hernandez too. Inter and Juve mean business, especially at Juve that has Giuntoli. Giuntoli is a genius sporting director. I believe he's going to make Juve great again. I fully believe that's going to happen. Miretti's playing more. Yildiz is playing more. McKennie looks like a genius the way he plays. Vlahovic is a top striker right now. Juve is here to stay. After Allegri, give Conte to Giuntoli. Success will come.
Yeah, well, I think you're right there. Although I forget who got sent off the other day, but didn't start off well, but Juve at least... pulled out a point from that one. Inter looks unbeatable right now. I'm going to say it.
Fiorentina's not going to be easy, but true. The Supercoppa d'Italia, Lautaro Martinez scores a clutch goal. And right now, Lautaro Martinez is one of the best one of the best strikers. He's not young anymore. I remember saying Lautaro Martinez was young, but Lautaro is one of the prospects. I still go with the young Lautaro Martinez, but he's one of the players to maybe move if Inter don't convince an extension.
Well, and Dusan Vlahovic will have something to say about that this season. Obviously Juve, one of the biggest developments of this particular season has been the fact that Dusan Vlahovic has come into his own, and he has become the assassin for Juve that Lautaro Martinez is for Inter right now. And they need this Dusan Vlahovic if they even want to compete for the Scudetto this season. I think it's more realistic maybe in the future seasons, but Dusan Vlahovic, still just 23 years old, 5 goals in his last 3 Serie A matches, 12 and 15 league starts this season, and he has looked like anything he shoots does not miss. And I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, but I don't think Juve have lost a game since late September. I'm going to double check that, but
one thing's for sure, Juve this season looked very different, and they did a lot of defensive restructures. The Locatelli slept. Locatelli's underrated. Miretti is an underrated youngster. The Chiesa-Vlahovic duo is becoming underrated right now. And a player like Andrea Cambiaso, Gatti, they don't get the focus and the attention that they deserve. It's Inter or Juve to win the Scudetto. I believe a lot in that prediction for sure. It's a two-team race right now. 2-team race right now. And yes, it's true, Napoli cannot be in this race because, yes, they do not have the players to be in this race, or the manager, I believe. Well, they have one player. Well,
they do.
Which is Victor Osimhen.
Yeah, Victor Osimhen, and I think his time is running short at Napoli.
But before mentioning
what do you say to that?
Victor Osimhen, I think we should mention that, or I'd like to mention that right now, Bayern Munich as one of the best fullback duos in the world right now. I fully believe that. With Alphonso Davies on the left and with Sacha Boey at the right. It's a bargain to get Sacha Boey for 30 million, and the world-class potential he has. Immediate impact at the right-hand side. Yep. Believe that it's going to happen, and don't be shocked when he goes to the Euros in 2024 for France. Now he's going to be like in the spotlight. Everybody's going to now start to know about Sacha Boey. And he's been balling out for Galatasaray since he arrived. 1 million. You're right, for 1 million, Breton. How can that happen?
He did. I don't know, considering that Stade Rennais have gotten paid very well for previous players. I mean, all of these players have come out of Stade Rennais. Sacha Boey, Matisse Tel, Ousmane Dembele, Eduardo Camavinga, among many others. But those are the big ones. Sacha Boey to go to Galatasaray. Jeremy Doku, but Doku was in the Belgian Pro League, I think, previous to that.
Yes.
But But Sacha Boey, I mean, it's the Turkish Super League making that a destination, right? For them to make a big move like this. 30 million is no chump change for somebody coming from the Turkish Super League. I mean, that's a big amount of money. It shows you how thoroughly scouted he likely is, what kind of talent he brings to that. And Galatasaray, there was a period of time that they didn't lose for, I don't know, like 7 months, 6 months or something. And Sacha Boey was because of it. So, Bayern Munich making shrewd, solving a big need, because I couldn't even tell you who their healthy right backs are
Pavard's
right now.
Pavard went to Inter even.
Oh,
yeah,
Pavard's
it's not
gone.
even Pavard. Yeah. No, but
it would have been like Bunasar, and he's injured, and it would have been
Mazrui, but he's been injured.
Mazrui.
Exactly,
Mazrui, yeah.
So I agree, and I said it was a bargain, 30 million, because Ben Chilwell costs how much? Tino Livramento costs how much to Newcastle? And he's still under 24, Sacha Boey. So if you know, you know. Start to expect him in the French national team from now on with this move. I wanted to mention that in the transfers. And yes, Victor Osimhen is a must with the transfer news, because we got De Laurentiis, the Napoli president, confirming to everyone that next season he'll be leaving Napoli, and it's or PSG or Real Madrid or a Premier League top team. I think Real Madrid is not going to happen. I think PSG is not going to happen, with Rafael Leão being their biggest transfer target. And I think the best destination is Chelsea. Chelsea has to get a striker, an African legend, getting an AFCON, and now going to Chelsea in the summer. It's giving me Didier Drogba vibes right there. Eto'o has been at Chelsea too in the past too, but it's more with the Drogba vibes, because The president future of Ivory Coast was with Drogba. The president future of Nigeria is with Osimhen. So I think now is the time to move to the Premier League and to become an icon in the Premier League. A Nigerian striker. Love it.
Well, I don't know, Alex. I mean, I think there are some Nigerian supporters out there that might say that the present and future of Nigeria is Ademola Lookman after that round of 16 win. But yes, no, Victor Osimhen, what he did to launch Napoli to their first Scudetto in 30 years, that will never be forgotten.
Napoli,
and yeah,
it's over. I want to really mention this to the FC Wonderkid fans.
Sure.
I start to see that De Laurentiis will not make Napoli a Scudetto winner anytime short right now. He's too full of himself, I think, in his ideas. He believes that the manager that is right now there is better than Mourinho. You're a lunatic if that's the case. I really wanted to mention that because it was Giantoli, the sporting director that I mentioned with Juve. That was the man who made Napoli win the Scudetto. And now he's going to make Juve win everything once again. Remember what I'm saying? Episode ever 141.
Yeah, no, I'm actually going to agree with you. They look a shade of their former self. And even guys that were absolutely lights out during that Scudetto run.
Matthias Oliveira.
Yeah, they are shades of their former self. Kvaratskhelia maybe less so, but yeah, Oliveira is a great shout in terms of guys that had an amazing year and have since fallen off. Lobotka, he's been okay. Yeah, it just Zielinski, he's been okay.
He can't maintain.
Anguissa, he's been okay.
Eli Felmish has left. But they can't. They just can't. Leipzig? So you mean to say Leipzig is greater than Napoli? What?
Well, yeah, I think in the future, but I don't know. Do you think Napoli's good enough at least now to take down Barcelona, when the Champions League comes back?
They shouldn't be.
No,
and I believe
they shouldn't
this
be.
Xavi decision will definitely help Barcelona winning against Napoli. Napoli's final season at Barca, losing to a poor Napoli team that has Osimhen being their biggest star, but Kvaratskhelia a shade from what he was last season. They for sure shouldn't lose. For sure. Pressure is on.
Victor Osimhen to Chelsea would be a cherry on the top of $1 billion sundae.
120 million.
I mean, it would just be 10% of his spending so far. Whatever. Chump change. Bring the guy in. It's very clear that they need a striker. London is just going to get lit up with ridiculous transfer money in the near future. Yeah, Arsenal hasn't even gotten started yet.
It's going to be the summer. Next summer, we're going to have next summer, we're going to have a Barca team that wants a new manager. The next summer, we're going to have a Liverpool team that will be doing a lot of transfers. Next summer, it's going to be absolutely mad with the Euros, with Copa America, with Xavi, Liverpool, this whole drama that's happening.
Probably
Spurs and Postecoglou.
Yeah, probably them too. They're going to be busy as well.
I think so. And then you see even Brentford with Antonio Nusa that we were expecting to go to Tottenham. He's going to Brentford this summer. What a move for 35 million. Bargain for what he can bring to Brentford in the future. The future of Norway and Club Brugge will be in action in the Premier League.
I got to ask you with that amount of spend, right? One, that just shows you the might of the Premier League, right? Mm-hmm. And the power, the financial power that any club within the Premier League currently has at their fingertips. But do you think Antonio Nusa and Brentford hijacking that from Spurs, do you think that is kind of a last-ditch 35 million euro effort to keep Ivan Toney at Brentford?
I think he's going to leave, even though they bring Antonio Nusa. And I think he shouldn't learn with the behaviors of Ivan Toney if he wants to leave the club.
Yeah,
it's not going to be good for the locker room. I think, honestly, for Brentford and for the project, the fact that they convinced Antonio Nusa speaks levels because this player, I'm sure, is talking to every top team in the world right now. If Arsenal wanted Mudryk, I'm sure they asked about Antonio Nusa to Club Brugge. It's not a mad thought because Nusa is balling in the Champions League with Club Brugge. He did last season. He was unreal. I watched him against Porto. I was shocked.
Yeah,
What a game.
And here I only thought Brentford brought in Danes. And Danes only, right? So, there is a Danish setup there. So maybe they've just broadened it out to include all Scandinavians. But obviously, that is a coup of a signing. And it's unfortunate because I really do think Antonio Nusa would have been a phenomenal signing for Spurs.
More will come.
I really, really, really do think so. You know who else would be a phenomenal signing for Spurs? If they can't get Nusa, they should go all in for Nico Williams. Definitely.
Barca, please don't make this happen. If Barca let go of Nico Williams in that league, in La Liga, they see it so clearly. But with Ange Postecoglou, Nico Williams, look, I'm not going to hate on that move. I'm not going to hate on that move. And that would be Son becoming a striker and Nico Williams the left-hand side. I'm assuming.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. Well, no, and it would allow Kulusevski to maybe be more of a roaming playmaker instead of a winger, which I don't think he really is yet. I don't know. But you would still, I think, need a striker. You would still, I think, need at least a depth striker, young striker. Maybe Alejo Veliz is that in the long term. But yeah, in the short term, do you go for Ivan Toney? And do they even have this money? But I think for 45 million with their wings being a pretty big focal point for Big Ange, I just feel Nico Williams. I think Nico Williams wants the Premier League, right? So
let's wait.
Spurs would be good,
and Tottenham don't need to spend big time money on their stadium like a Man United needs to spend, like a Chelsea maybe needs to spend. Like the future of Tottenham is looking bright with Ange Postecoglou. Let us know down below what you believe in transfers. Do you agree with what we said? Do you disagree with what we said? Let us know down below. I wanted to mention AFCON finalists. AFCON final time because we're now in the round of 16. What are your big predictions, Bretson? Because we got an Angola against Nigeria in the quarterfinals, and we have other matches too that we do not know the outcomes. But before the round of 16 finish, who do you believe that are big contenders to win the AFCON until the end, Bretson?
Well, I don't know. Do I have any qualifying or
you
any
put Ivory Coast. You put Ivory Coast to win it, and now they're playing against Senegal.
I know, but here's the most. This is why there's so much intrigue in AFCON, because the Ivory Coast, after going 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses in their group stage as a host, unheard of, just not good, right? They sacked their coach, only to then find out that they are now coachless heading into a round of 16 matchup because they were the last club to qualify as a last nation to qualify as a third place team. So now they have to go up against Sadio Mane, Pape Matar Sarr, and Senegal in the next round. And it is just almost laughable in that sense. But no, I am going to go. I will have to give Nigeria credit. Nigeria looks better. I like that they look better, even without Victor Osimhen scoring all their goals. That's good. That's a great thing for Nigeria moving forward. I now can see why they would be favorites. I still think that they're going to get found out when it comes to their defense. I am going to go all in on Senegal here. I think that they have more playmakers, more...
Watch them lose to Ivory Coast, Bretson. Then we know you're the variable.
I know. Watch it happen.
Then we know.
And then I am the variable. But it's Senegal or Morocco. Senegal or Morocco for me.
Morocco's gonna have a tough game though, Bretson, and I hope Cape Verde makes something happen though. But I want to say, you think that the defense is what's gonna expose Nigeria? Nigeria in their last 4 games have only 1 goal suffered. They have Ademola Lookman going bold. They have Osimhen that still hasn't gone bold. But I fully believe if Nigeria win the AFCON is with Osimhen going bold in the quarter, in the semi-final, and in the final, and prove to the world that he's the best African player in the world. Because yes, he was nominated the best African player in 2023. Now it's to prove it, and to prove a 120 million price tag from Chelsea to be spent in the future. That's what he's got to do in this AFCON. He's got to be the big
Yeah,
man.
well,
And Algeria,
yeah,
Algeria were
I know.
bottom of their group. Algeria haven't
know.
won an AFCON game since they won AFCON in 2019. The expectations are
insane.
so low that they lost to Mauritania. It was Mauritania's first AFCON win in their history against Algeria. Mahrez is not looking good. His heritage is not the same to Mo Salah with Egypt and of Sadio Mane with Senegal, even though he won the AFCON.
Well,
it's just looking very bad right now.
That's what I mean. Like with the AFCON, the entry, there was literally no betting on this tournament. You would have gotten destroyed because the intrigue here, seeing Kudus completely speechless after Ghana were crashed out in the group stage, right? Seeing Tunisia sent home. I know this isn't the strongest Tunisian team, but you at least expect them to do a little more than what they did instead of finishing bottom of in a very lenient group stage, as we saw with Ivory Coast getting through with 1 win, 2 losses. But nothing spoke more to the intrigue of AFCON than Algeria crashing out and seeing a guy like Aissa Mundi go to the fans after the game, and the fans were so inconsolable and so angry. Even though he was trying to do the right thing to apologize, he was getting pelted. Mm-hmm. He was getting jeered at. He was getting sent home. Same thing with the Ghanaian journalists. They could not hide their disdain for choices made at the top, for selection, for whatever. It is amazing. It was amazing to kind of to see that unfold. So just goes to show anyone can win. But yeah, no Ghana in the knockout stage.
In this AFCON, Angola, Cape Verde, Nigeria, these national teams went bold. Morocco can go bold still. Algeria went bold for the wrong reasons. Mauritania went bold for the right reasons. But boldness is what happens in AFCON. And even 100%. The bizarre story of Andre Onana in AFCON. It's bizarre. 1 game played, 3 goals conceded, no saves, no registered saves in AFCON, and he was dropped for the last 2 games of Cameroon and AFCON. The bizarre story of Onana. Not doing good for Man United going to AFCON, and not doing good either for Cameroon and AFCON. It was a bizarre month. He has to forget what happened.
Andre Onana was replaced by his cousin, who is not even the starting keeper, if I'm not mistaken, in, I believe it's the 3rd division. So the Nacional in France. But there are wonderful stories too that have come out of it. And you mentioned Angola. They won their first round of 16 AFCON match ever. And you got to give a little sporting history to everybody. Gelson Dalla was off the mark for 2 goals. And they look like they could play a little bit of the thorn in a strong Nigerian side. But the other one, the actual leading goal scorer of the whole tournament right now, Alex, plays in the 3rd division in Spain. He plays in the 3rd division in Spain, and he's listed, Alex, as a defender. He's listed as a defender. And he scored 5 goals in the group stage to become the, I believe it was the most goals in a group stage in over 50 years in AFCON. And his name is Emiliano Nsue, and he's 34 years old. So, I mean, stories like that, you're not going to get in more developed competitions like a Euro, right? Where everybody has like tip-top infrastructure and all that stuff. You're only going to get it in AFCON, and I am here for every second of it because some of these guys will go on, they'll get plucked up, they'll get opportunities, and I love every second of it.
So let's see if Egypt can make it happen without Mo Salah. Can Ivory Coast shock the world? And can Nigeria confirm to the world that they should be the favorites towards winning the AFCON? The truth is, there's a golden generation of Morocco that has the weight to deliver in this AFCON too. Aguerd, Amrabat, Ziyech, Onahi that always looks different with Morocco, Bono that is one of the best international goalkeepers out there, and Hakimi that is one of the best right backs in the world. Will they make it happen? Let us know down below in the comment section. in FC Wonderkid episode 141. Is there any last mentions that you want to do, Breton?
No, none that
Musa
need
to
to be
MLS,
said.
10 million.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, yeah, we could talk about that. But also, I think the bigger signing for me, that's a lot of cheddar for FC Dallas to part with, considering salary caps and all that stuff in our league. But the more heartwarming one for me is Pedro de la Vega signing with the Seattle Sounders for $6 million. He's got 120 plus appearances for Lanús. And his, not surprisingly, but he is going to be playing in the same league as his longtime idol, which is Leo Messi. But he has been brought in. If people don't know the Seattle Sounders, they routinely bring in 40,000 plus to an NFL stadium. And they are one of the best. I've been to multiple games. I've been to Seattle. They are one of the best atmospheres in all of the states in all of Major League Soccer. You've got guys like Russell Wilson, who was the former quarterback for the Seattle Sounders, that own a part of it. They've got a very, very good pedigree when it comes to what new MLS is. Yep, the Seattle Seahawks. FC Dallas, in turn, that's a big deal for them to go out and spend $10 million on Petar Musa. And I think, what do you think? Yeah, they did. They developed Ricardo Pepi. Weston McKennie was there at one point. Tanner Tessman, who's at Venezia. Yeah, Paxton Pomykal. They're very rich in their youth development. Petar Musa is only, 25?
I think 24? He's young. Yeah, 25. I think he's towards that age. Yes, but we're mentioning
this might be their first. This might be their first Croatian, though. So it'll be interesting what he thinks of the 105-degree weather in Frisco, Texas.
That will be an interesting move towards that. Let's see if Musa becomes the top goal scorer of the MLS against Luis Suarez, that has just arrived at Inter Miami. But one thing's for sure. Chicharito will be in the top goal scorers of Liga Mexicana. Returned to Chivas Guadalajara after 18 years. I'll never forget just seeing the name of Javier Hernandez, saying, "Who's this guy that's going to Man United?" and watching him in the World Cup.
Pretty
the
huge.
Expectation, like the memories, like it's just mad. It's mad that it's happening.
I thought the same thing when I used to go as a kid to Metro Stars games up at Giant Stadium. And there was a young goalkeeper, Tim Howard, that was in goal. And I remember thinking the exact same thing when I first saw Tim Howard in a Manchester United jersey, let alone being one of the largest appearance leaders in Everton history. I agree. When Chicharito went to Manchester United, it like changed me as a fan. Just watching him actually succeed there too for some time. I mean, at his best, he was a scary, scary striker to play against. And now, that's for sure.
Santiago Jimenez to pass the torch. He scored a bunch of goals because where is he going?
He's got to work on those penalties, though, Alex. He's got to work on those penalties, man. But I will tell you. You tell me Chicharito is going to score a bunch of goals for Chivas. I'm going to agree with you, but we got an American down there. He's got several caps, obviously, for the U.S. His name's Brandon Vazquez. He scored double-digit goals for FC Cincinnati last season, and he was bought by Monterrey, the Rayados, for $8 million. And he's already got 3 goals in his first 2 games, still only 25 years old. So I got to say, I'm happy that Liga MX has reversed, not signing Americans. And they're going to sign some Americans here and there. And I think Brandon Vazquez is going to give Liga MX a run for their money when it comes to that golden boot. We'll see.
Interesting prediction here at the end of episode 141. Let us know what you agree, what you disagree. What are the topics that you'd like to see in the next week's podcast? Thank you for listening until now to episode 142. And thank you, people, for going bold with us another episode. Take care, people.